She died 15 years ago. They dragged the river. They held a funeral. They moved on. But the story did not end there. Because after Amanda Madukwe died, something unbelievable happened. Her sister married her husband, moved into her house, raised her children, slept in her bed, wore her jewelry, smiled every single day for 15 years. Until today. Today, the dead woman came home and she brought receipts. Her name is Amanda Madukwe. She has a folder. Inside that folder is the name of the person who drugged her, the name of the person who pushed her, the name of the person who watched her sink into that river and felt nothing but relief. All of them, family. But here is what that sister did not know. The river did not kill Amanda Madukwe. The river saved her. And now, she is standing at the gate of her own house, thin, hard, eyes like fire, waiting for someone to open that gate so she can walk back into the life that was stolen from her. My people, sit down. Turn off your phone. Tell everyone around you to be quiet, because what I am about to tell you will make you forget to breathe. You can bury a body. You can bury a secret, but you cannot bury the truth, because the truth does not rot. It waits, and then it rises. Stay with me, because Amanda is about to speak, and nobody in that house is ready. The woman standing at the gate of the Madukwe mansion had no face. That is what the gateman would later tell police. He would swear on his mother's grave that when he looked at her through the iron bars that hot Tuesday afternoon, he saw nothing where her face should be, only shadow. But I will tell you what he really saw. He saw a ghost. He saw Amanda Madukwe, the woman they buried 15 years ago, the woman whose husband wept until he lost his voice, the woman whose children, aged 5, 3, and 1, threw sand into an empty coffin. Yes, empty, because Amanda's body was never found. The river, they said, swallowed her whole. But here is what the elders say. The river may swallow a stone, but it will spit out a lie. 15 years, that is how long this lie lived. And now, standing at the gate of the home that was once hers, watching the children who no longer know her face, looking at the sister who sleeps in her bed, took her husband and answers to her name. Amanda has not come back to reclaim her life. She has come back to burn it all down. Because she finally knows the truth. She knows who pushed her into that river. She knows who drugged the palm wine she drank that night. She knows why they wanted her dead. And by the time the sun sets tomorrow, everyone in that house will know it too. Settle in, my friend. Get your popcorn. Silence your phone, because this story will not let you breathe. The gateman's name was Musa. He had worked for the Madukwe family for only 3 years, so he never knew Amanda. He never saw her dance at her wedding, never heard her sing while cooking, never witnessed the way she could silence a room simply by walking into it. All he knew were the photographs. One hung in the living room, a large portrait of a woman with eyes like quiet thunder. Beautiful, yes, but something else too. Something that made you look twice, something that made you uncomfortable. The madam of the house, Chisom, never looked at that portrait. In 3 years, Musa had never once seen Chisom glance at her dead sister's face. He found that strange, but rich people were strange, so he minded his business. Until today. "I want to see my husband," the woman at the gate said. Musa laughed. "Madam, you don't enter wrong house. Oga Obioran a married man." The woman smiled, and Musa's laughter died in his throat. That smile. He had seen that smile before. Every day, in fact, on the portrait in the living room. "Tell him," the woman said slowly. "Tell him that the river has finally spit out what it swallowed." My people, let me pause here and take you back. Back to 15 years ago. Back to the night everything changed. Back to the night Amanda Madukwe died, or so the world believed. Because to understand why a woman would return from the grave, you must first understand why she was put there. Amanda was not born wealthy. She came from Umudike village, the third of 6 children, the daughter of a palm wine tapper and a woman who sold akara by the roadside. But Amanda had something money could not buy: presence. When Amanda entered a room, conversation stopped. When she spoke, people listened. When she laughed, even the clouds seemed to pause. The elders said she carried the spirit of her great-grandmother, a woman who once advised kings. By 18, every young man in 3 villages had come to her father's compound with palm wine. All of them left rejected. Then came Obiora Madukwe. Obiora was different. He was the second son of the wealthy Madukwe family, educated in the city, quiet where other men were loud, thoughtful where others were reckless. He did not come with palm wine. He came with a single flower. "I am not here to impress your father," he told Amanda. "I am here to know you." It took him 2 years. 2 years of visits, 2 years of conversations under the mango tree, 2 years of letters written in his careful handwriting. When Amanda finally said yes, the village celebrated for 3 days. But not everyone was celebrating. You see, Amanda had a younger sister, Chisom, and Chisom had been watching Obiora long before Amanda ever noticed him. Chisom was beautiful too, some said even more beautiful than Amanda, but where Amanda glowed like the sun, Chisom flickered like a candle in the wind. Bright, yes, but unstable, always shifting, always hungry for more air. Chisom wanted what Amanda had, always. If Amanda received a new wrapper, Chisom would cry until she got one too. If Amanda was praised, Chisom would sulk for days. Their mother, Nelma, always gave in to Chisom's tantrums. "She is the baby," Nelma would say. "She is sensitive." But their father saw the truth. "That child," he once told his wife, "has a heart like a wounded snake. Handle her with care." Nelma dismissed him. She would regret that dismissal for the rest of her life. When Obiora chose Amanda, something broke inside Chisom, something that was never repaired. She smiled at the wedding. She danced with the women. She helped decorate her sister's new home. But at night, in the darkness of her room, Chisom made a promise to herself, a promise that would take her 5 years to fulfill. For 5 years, Amanda lived in paradise. Obiora was a good husband. Not perfect, no manners, but good. He worked hard, came home early, held her when she cried, and laughed at her jokes even when they were not funny. They had 3 children. Chukwadi, the firstborn, had his father's quiet strength. Oluchi, the second, had her mother's fire. And Chidera, the baby, had the smile of an angel. Amanda was happy. But happiness, my people, is like a ripe mango on a tree. Everyone can see it, and someone is always waiting to pluck it. Chisom visited often, too often. She would come to help with the children. She would come to keep her sister company. She would come to learn how to keep a home. Amanda, with her generous heart, welcomed her every time. "You are too trusting," her friend Ngozi warned. "That your sister looks at your husband with eyes that are not sisterly." Amanda laughed. "Chisom, she's my blood. She would never." Ngozi shook her head. "Blood is thick, but jealousy is thicker. The same breast that feeds 2 children can also be the source of their war." Amanda did not listen. But there was another person in the Madukwe household, someone Amanda should have watched more carefully. Obiora's younger brother, Ikenna. Ikenna was everything Obiora was not. Loud, reckless, hungry for pleasure. He drank too much, gambled too often, and chased women like a dog chases chickens. The family sent him abroad to study. He came back with no degree and plenty of debt. He lived in the Madukwe family compound, surviving on handouts from his brother, drowning in bitterness. "Why should Obiora have everything?" he once drunkenly asked a friend. "We came from the same womb, but he gets the money, the respect, the beautiful wife, and what do I get? Crumbs." His friend warned him to let go of his envy. Ikenna did not let go. Instead, he found someone who shared his hunger. You have guessed it, haven't you? Chisom. No one knows exactly when it started. Perhaps it was during one of Chisom's many visits. Perhaps it was at a family gathering when their eyes met across the room and recognized something familiar. The same emptiness, the same greed, the same rage at being overlooked. They began meeting in secret. At first, it was just talking, complaints about their lives, about how unfair the world was, about how they deserved more. Then it became something else. And then it became a plan. It was the annual village festival. The whole family had gathered at the Madukwe compound. Food overflowed. Palm wine flowed like water. Children ran and played while elders told stories under the moonlight. Amanda was radiant that night. She wore a white wrapper with gold threading. Her gele sat on her head like a crown. She danced with her husband, fed her children, and laughed with her sisters-in-law. Chisom watched her with a smile that did not reach her eyes. "You look tired, sister," Chisom said sweetly. "Here, I brought you some palm wine, fresh, just for you." Amanda took the cup without suspicion. She drank. An hour later, Amanda felt strange. The world was spinning. Her legs felt heavy. Her tongue would not obey her. "I need air," she mumbled to Obiora. "I am going to walk by the river." Obiora was deep in conversation with his father about business matters. "Okay, my love, don't stay too long." He never saw her again. Amanda stumbled toward the river, her vision blurring, her thoughts scattering like leaves in the wind. She did not see the figure following her. She did not hear the footsteps. She only felt the hands, strong, rough hands, pushing her from behind. And then, cold, darkness, nothing. When Amanda's body was not found the next morning, the village searched for 3 days. Divers went into the river. Fishermen dragged their nets. Herbalists consulted spirits. Nothing. Obiora collapsed. He stopped eating. He stopped speaking. He aged 10 years in 10 days. The children cried themselves to sleep every night. A funeral was held without a body. And life, as it always does, continued. Grief is a strange thing. It can break a man, or it can make him desperate for comfort. 2 years after Amanda's death, Obiora remarried. To Chisom. I know what you are thinking. How? Why? How could he marry the sister of his dead wife? Let me explain. Chisom had positioned herself perfectly. In the months after Amanda's death, she became indispensable. She moved into the house to help with the children. She cooked Obiora's meals. She comforted him when he woke from nightmares. She never overstepped, never touched, never suggested, just served. The family began to talk. The children need a mother, they said. Chisom already knows them, they said. It is tradition, they said. When a wife dies, her sister can take her place. Obiora resisted at first, but loneliness is a powerful enemy. And Chisom was patient, so very patient. On the 2nd anniversary of Amanda's death, Obiora took Chisom as his wife. And Chisom finally had everything she wanted. But here is what Chisom did not know. Obiora never loved her, not once, not for a single day. Every night, he slept beside her body but dreamed of Amanda. Every morning, he looked at her face and saw only a shadow of the woman he lost. He performed his duties as a husband, he provided, he was present, but his heart was buried in that river with Amanda. And there was something else, something Obiora kept secret from everyone. He never believed Amanda drowned. Every month, quietly, he sent men to search. He hired investigators. He followed rumors. He chased whispers. Something about that night had never made sense to him. Amanda was an excellent swimmer. The river was not deep near the festival grounds. And why had she wandered so far alone? No. Something was wrong, and Obiora had spent 15 years trying to find the truth. Now, I know you are wondering, where was Amanda all this time? What happened after she fell into that river?
Amanda did not die that night. The river carried her, drugged, unconscious, barely breathing, 3 miles downstream. By some miracle, her body caught in the roots of an old tree near the riverbank. A fisherman named Tunde found her at dawn. He was not from the village. He was a traveler passing through. He saw the woman's body and thought she was dead. Then she coughed. Tunde pulled her from the water, loaded her into his canoe, and took her to the only place he knew, a hospital in the city, 60 miles away. Amanda was in a coma for 3 months. When she woke, she remembered nothing. The drug that Chisom put in her palm wine had done more than knock her out. It had stolen her memories. She did not know her name, did not know her village, did not know she had a husband, children, a life waiting for her. She was empty, a shell. But from the very first night, something inside her refused to be completely quiet.
It started with a dream, not a full memory, just a feeling. Warm light, the smell of egusi soup, a child's small hand wrapped around hers. She would wake up with tears on her face and no idea why. Tunde thought it was trauma from the river. Amanda thought so too. She learned to live with it. Months passed, years passed. The dream never stopped. Not once, not for 15 years. Every single night, that same small hand, that same warmth, that same ache she could not name. Then, 7 years into her new life, something happened. She was wrapping a customer's fabric in her seamstress shop when the customer left behind a newspaper. Amanda went to throw it away, and something on page 6 stopped her hand completely. A photograph. A man at a business event. Tall, quiet-looking, serious eyes. Something about his face made her chest hot in a way she had never felt before and could not explain. She did not know his name. She did not know why her hands were shaking. She did not know why she was crying. She only knew she could not throw that photograph away. She cut it out of the newspaper. She hid it under her mattress. And every night for 8 years, she took it out and looked at it before she slept. 8 years, my people. A woman staring every night at a stranger's face because something deep in her soul recognized what her mind could not reach. Then, 2 years before she finally came home, a customer came into her shop with her children. One of the children, a little girl, ran to Amanda the way small children sometimes run to people they feel safe with, people they have never met but somehow trust. The little girl grabbed Amanda's hand, and Amanda looked down and felt it. That exact warmth, that exact weight, the same small hand from the dream she had been having for 13 years. Something did not just knock this time. Something broke. That night, the memories did not return gently. They crashed all at once. Every single thing, the festival, the white wrapper with gold threading, the palm wine, the hands on her back, the cold water, and 3 faces, small, young, needing her, that she now understood were not just dreams. They were her children. They had always been her children, and she had been sleeping 60 miles away from them for 13 years, thinking she was nobody. She did not sleep for 3 days. On the 4th day, she went to Tunde, her hands shaking, her eyes wide open for the first time in 15 years, and she said, "I know who I am. I know what they did to me." She told him everything. When she finished, Tunde was silent for a long time. Then he said, "What will you do?" Amanda looked at him with eyes that had turned to steel. "I am going home." But Amanda did not rush. She was no fool. She spent 1 year preparing, gathering information, sending people to watch, learning everything that had happened in her absence. She learned that Chisom had married Obiora. She learned that her children had grown. She learned that Chisom had given Obiora 2 more children, taking her place in every way. She learned that everyone believed she was dead. And she learned one more thing, something that changed everything. The last investigator she sent came back with a photograph of her youngest child, Chidera, the baby who was only 1 year old when she died. Except it was not just Chidera in the photograph. It was Chidera and another girl. A girl who looked almost exactly like Chidera. The same eyes, the same smile, the same birthmark on her left wrist. "Who is this?" Amanda asked, her voice trembling. The investigator looked at her with pity. "That is Chisom's first daughter. They call her Adana. She is 14 years old." Amanda felt the ground shift beneath her feet. But Amanda did not understand the most dangerous secret in that house, and when she finally discovered it, it signed her death warrant.
14 years old. That meant Chisom was pregnant when Amanda died. But Chisom had no husband at that time, no boyfriend that anyone knew of. Unless... Do you see it now? The pieces fitting together? Chisom was pregnant by Ikena. The affair had produced a child, and if that secret came out, both of them would be destroyed. They needed Amanda gone. But why Amanda specifically? Why not simply hide the pregnancy? Because Amanda had found out. Let me take you back one more time to the day before the festival, the day before Amanda was pushed into the river. Amanda had gone to Chisom's room to borrow a necklace. Chisom was not there, but a letter was. A letter from Ikena, filled with passionate words, plans for the future, and one terrible line. "When you finally give me a son, we will have everything. My brother does not deserve what he has, and your sister stands in the way of what should be ours." Amanda read the letter 3 times. Her hands shook. Her sister, her husband's brother, plotting against them. She did not confront Chisom immediately. She needed to think, to plan, to gather evidence. But Chisom came back and saw the letter had been moved. She knew, and she told Ikena. That night, they made their decision. Amanda had to die. Now you understand. Now you see why Amanda stood at that gate 15 years later with fire in her eyes. She had not come for her husband. She had not come for her home. She had come for justice. Musa the gateman ran inside, his legs trembling. Madam Chisom." Chisom was in the living room, supervising the house girls. She looked up irritated. "What is it? Why are you shouting?" "There is a woman at the gate. She says she is your sister. She says she is the first madam. She says she is Amanda." I wish I could describe for you what happened to Chisom's face in that moment. The blood draining, the eyes widening, the mask cracking. 15 years of pretending, 15 years of playing the loving wife, the caring stepmother, the grieving sister. 15 years of sleeping in a dead woman's bed, wearing a dead woman's jewelry, answering to a dead woman's title. And now, that dead woman was at the gate. Chisom did not move for a full minute. Then she laughed, a high, sharp laugh, the laugh of a woman who has decided to keep playing her role. "Musa, you are a fool. My sister is dead for 15 years. Go and chase that mad woman away before I have you flogged." But Musa did not move. "Madam," he said quietly, "she looks exactly like the portrait, exactly." Chisom walked to the gate herself. Her steps were confident. Her face was arranged in a mask of amused skepticism, but her heart was a wild drum. She reached the gate, and she saw her. Amanda was thinner than before, harder. The softness was gone from her face, replaced by edges that could cut. But those eyes that had always seen too much, were exactly the same. For a moment, neither sister spoke. Then Amanda smiled. "Chisom, little sister, you look well. Marriage agrees you." Chisom's mask flickered. "Who are you? What is this madness?" "Madness? Is it madness to visit one's own home, to see one's own children, to greet the sister who put her in a grave? You are not Amanda. Amanda is dead. Yes, that is what you wanted, is it not?"
Amanda stepped closer to the gate. "Tell me, Chisom, when you put the drug in my palm wine, did your hand shake? When you watched me stumble toward the river, did you feel anything at all?
When you married my husband and slept in my bed, did you ever once think of me?" Chisom's face went white. "I do not know what you are talking about." "No?" Amanda's smile widened. "Then let me remind you. Let me remind you of everything. But not here." She looked past Chisom at the house. "Inside, in front of everyone. Let them hear what kind of woman has been raising my children." She raised her voice. "Obiora, Obiora Madukwe, come and see your wife, your real wife, the one you buried 15 years ago." Obiora was in his study when he heard the shouting. His heart, which had been dead for 15 years, suddenly kicked. That voice! No, it could not be. He ran. When Obiora reached the gate and saw the woman standing there, he did not speak, he did not move. He simply looked, and something inside him broke open. "Mandy," the word came out like a wound. "Mandy, is it you?" Amanda looked at the man she had loved, the man she still loved despite everything, the man who had married her sister. "It is me, Obiora. I did not die. I was not drowned. I was pushed, and I have come back to tell you who did it." Obiora's legs gave way. He fell to his knees at the gate, tears streaming down his face. 15 years, he whispered. "I searched. I never stopped searching. I knew something was wrong. Mandy, where have you been? What happened to you?" "Open the gate," Amanda said softly, "and I will tell you everything." Chisom stepped forward, her voice shrill. "Obiora, you cannot believe this woman. She's an impostor, a fraud, someone who has studied our family and is trying to steal what is ours." Obiora looked at his second wife with eyes that had suddenly cleared. "Chisom," he said, "I have slept beside you for 13 years. I have watched you, I have listened, and I have always known something was wrong. Something was missing in you. Something was dark." He stood. "Open the gate, Musa." "Obiora, no. Open the gate." The gate swung open, and Amanda walked into the compound she had left 15 years ago. She walked past the garden she had planted, past the kitchen where she had cooked 1,000 meals, past the doorway where she had stood as a bride. She walked into the living room and stopped beneath her own portrait. Then she turned and faced the family that was gathering. Servants, children, elders who had come to visit, and Chisom standing in the corner, her eyes wild with fear. Chukudi was the first to enter the room. He was 20 now, tall, broad, his father's quiet strength in his bones. He stopped when he saw the woman beneath the portrait. "Who are you?" His voice was hard, suspicious. Amanda's heart cracked. Her firstborn, her son, looking at her like a stranger. "Chukudi," she said softly, "you used to call me Mama Mandy. You used to hold my hand when you were scared of thunder. You used to sing with me. Mwa mwa mdo, every night before sleep." Chukudi went still. Then slowly, he walked closer. He looked at her face, at the birthmark on her neck, at the scar on her left hand, a scar from the time she cut herself making her 5th birthday meal.
"Mama," the word was small, broken, a child's word from a grown man's mouth. "Yes, my son, I am here." Chukudi fell into her arms, weeping like a baby. Oluchi came next, then Chidera, all of them weeping, all of them holding her like she might disappear again. Amanda held her children and let herself feel, for just one moment, the joy she had been denied for 15 years. But she did not let herself forget why she had come. There was one more child in the room, a girl of 14, standing near Chisom, looking confused and frightened. Adana. The child Chisom had passed off as her own. The child who was born from Chisom's affair with Ikena. The child whose existence was the reason Amanda was thrown into a river. Amanda looked at the girl, then at Chisom. "She looks like Ikena," Amanda said calmly. "The same jaw, the same ears. Does she know who her real father is? Or have you lied to her too?" The room went silent. Obiora turned to Chisom. "What is she talking about?" Chisom laughed nervously. "This woman is insane. She is making up stories. Adana is your daughter, Obiora. Ours, you know this." "Do I?" Obiora's voice was cold, deadly. "Where is Ikena?" This is the moment I must tell you what happened to Ikena, because this story has another twist, one that no one saw coming. 5 years after Amanda's death, Ikena died in a car accident. At least, that is what everyone believed. But Amanda had investigated that too.
Ikenna is dead, Chisom said quickly. He cannot defend himself against these lies. How convenient for you. Yes, he is dead, Amanda agreed. But do you know what I found when I investigated his accident? She pulled out another document. The mechanic who serviced his car before the accident, I found him. It took me 6 months, but I found him. He is old now, dying. He wanted to confess before he met his maker. Amanda looked directly at Chisom. He said a woman paid him to tamper with Ikenna's brakes. He said she was beautiful with desperate eyes. He said she gave him a gold necklace as payment, a necklace with a distinctive design, a design I recognize. She pointed at Chisom's neck, at the gold necklace she was wearing. That necklace belonged to me. I wore it on my wedding day, and now my sister wears it, paid for with my attempted murder and used to pay for another. Do you see now? Do you understand what kind of woman Chisom truly is? She killed Ikenna, her lover, the father of her child, the partner in her crimes. Why? Because she knew too much. Because he was a drunk who might talk. Because she no longer needed him. She had married Obiora, secured her position, and Ikenna had become a liability. So she eliminated him, just as she had eliminated Amanda. Or so she thought.
The room erupted. Voices shouting, children crying, servants wailing. But above it all, one voice rose clear. Chisom's. You think you can destroy me? You think you can walk back in here after 15 years and take everything I built? She grabbed the knife from the table. I should have made sure you were dead. Chisom lunged at Amanda, but she was not fast enough. No. Obiora caught her arm, twisted the knife away, and threw her to the ground. You killed my wife, he said, his voice breaking. You drugged her, you pushed her into a river, and then you came into my home, you slept in my bed, you raised my children, you let me mourn her while knowing she was alive. Chisom looked up at him, and all the masks fell away. No more sweetness, no more pretending, just hatred, pure and bottomless. She had everything, Chisom hissed. Everything. The beauty, the respect, the husband, the children. And what did I have? Nothing. I was always second, always overlooked, always Amanda's little sister. Well, I took what I deserved. I took it all. You took nothing, Amanda said quietly. You borrowed. And now I have come to collect. The police arrived an hour later. Chisom was arrested, screaming curses as they dragged her away. The charges: attempted murder, conspiracy to murder, and the murder of Ikenna Madukwe. She would spend the rest of her life in prison. The days that followed were not easy. How could they be? Amanda had to rebuild relationships with children who had grown up without her. She had to learn their personalities, their dreams, their wounds. She had to decide what to do about Obiora, the man who had married her attempted murderer. She had to face Adana, the innocent girl who had just learned that her entire identity was a lie. With Obiora, it was complicated. She still loved him. That had never changed, but trust would take time. I do not blame you for marrying her, Amanda told him one evening, as they sat in the garden where they had once planted their first tree. You are grieving. She manipulated you. How could you have known? I should have known, Obiora said bitterly. I should have seen the evil in her. Evil does not always announce itself. Sometimes it wears the face of a sister. Sometimes it serves you palm wine with a smile. With the children, Amanda was patient. She did not try to replace the 15 years she had lost. She simply showed up every day. She cooked for them, listened to them, held them when they needed holding. Slowly, the walls came down. Slowly, the woman who came back became Mama again. With Adana, it was the hardest. The girl had lost everything. Her mother was a murderer. Her father was a dead man who had helped plot a killing. Her entire existence was the result of sin. Amanda found her one night, crying by the river, the same river that had nearly claimed Amanda's life. You should hate me, Adana whispered. I am the reason they hurt you. Amanda sat beside her. You are a child. You did not choose your parents. You did not choose how you came into this world. You are innocent, Adana, and you are still my niece, my blood.
How can you say that? How can you not blame me?" Amanda was silent for a moment. Then she said, "The elders say, a tree does not reject its branches because the wind blew them crooked. You are my branch, Adana. You grew in a storm, but you are still mine." Adana wept in her aunt's arms, and something broken began to mend. 1 year later, the Madukwe compound was full of noise, full of life. Amanda stood on the veranda watching her children play in the garden. Chukwudi was teaching Chidera to ride a bicycle. Oluchi was reading under the mango tree. Adana, who now lived with them, was helping the cooks prepare dinner. Obiora came to stand beside her. "I spent 15 years dreaming of this, of finding you, of bringing you home. I never let myself believe it would actually happen." Amanda smiled. "And yet here we are." "Here we are." He took her hand. "I wasted so many years, Mandy, living half a life, going through the motions. I don't want to waste any more." "Then don't." That evening, as the sun set over the river that had once tried to claim her, Amanda stood at its banks, not with fear, not with anger, with gratitude, because she understood now. The river had not tried to kill her. The river had carried her to safety. The river had kept her until she was ready to return. My people, the elders say, what is destined for you will find you even if it is beneath 2 mountains, and what is not destined for you will escape you even if it is between your 2 lips. Chisom thought she had buried her sister, but you cannot bury what is destined to rise. You cannot silence a voice that is meant to speak. You cannot kill a woman who still has truth to tell. Amanda Madukwe died 15 years ago, but the woman who walked out of that river, she is something else, something stronger, something sharper, something that cannot be drowned, burned, or buried. She is justice. She is patience. She is proof that every secret will eventually surface. And Chisom, sitting in her prison cell, haunted by the ghost she failed to kill, she finally understands what the elders always knew. The river may be patient, the river may be silent, but the river never forgets, and the river always gives back what was thrown in. Thank you for walking this journey with me. If this story moved you, if it kept you on the edge of your seat, if it reminded you of the power of truth and the patience of justice, then share it. Share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And remember, no matter how deep you bury a lie, the truth will always find its way back to the surface. If you enjoy stories like this, stories that carry wisdom, justice, and powerful life lessons, then make sure you subscribe to Echoes of Wisdom by Crystal. Like this video and tell me in the comments what you think. What part of Amanda's story stayed with you the most? I read every comment. Thanks for being a part of this family. Until next time, stay wise.